On today's episode of Prepare to be Floored, we're going to be redoing the tile in this cute little bathroom. The current tile is fine. It's your basic, really cheap, plain tile, so we're going to be stenciling it to bring some life and color to this bathroom. Now, firstly, I'm going to be taping the corners and wall in this bathroom space just so no paint gets on the walls or bathtub. Now, I can't stress how important it is to clean your tile before you get started. It can just be soap, water, and a mop or a sponge like I'm doing. I made the mistake of trying to paint a little area of my tile before cleaning it, and so much dirt and hair was getting stuck in the paint. It wasn't cute, trust me. I'm now painting the grout lines with a paintbrush and then going in with a foam roller to fill in the tile completely white. You're going to want to prime your tile first and then go over it with the paint that you want. You can also have your local hardware store tint your primer to the paint color that you want it to be to save that extra step of priming and painting. And as you can see, this first coat is a bit streaky, so I ended up doing 2 base coats in total. Now we're going to be filling in our stencil with this really bright, fun yellow color. This is going to be perfect for livening up my bathroom. And for the first step, you definitely don't have to do this, but I happen to have a piece of sample tile, and I'm going to be painting it just to make sure this is indeed the color I want, since it is pretty bold and bright. You can obviously skip this step if you feel confident in your color and stencil choice, but most hardware stores do have tile samples available for free or for very cheap if you want to test out your design. I also found that by filling out the stencil with a brush by hand, certain areas came out to be darker and lighter, which I really liked. If you don't want this, you'll probably want to be extra careful to make sure everything is filled out evenly, but I think this is a cool distressed look. However, for a large surface, I'm going to be using a foam roller, and I want to make sure to wipe off excess paint onto a paper towel, so you'll be working with a pretty dry roller, and I'm just doing one nice even light coat first. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but there are parts that are lighter and darker in certain areas on the stencil. Now, this is where you would want to go in with a second coat in order to get your stencil filled in completely solid, since, like I said before, your brush should be pretty dry, so your first layer shouldn't be even and it should be fairly light. But I really want to go for a kind of rustic look, and so I might keep it at this first layer because I do like the inconsistencies and the texture and the variety that adds. I ended up going back in with a brush by hand and making certain areas darker to kind of emphasize the distressed look I was getting by one layer of a roller. And then when you're ready to move your paint to the next area, make sure the paint underneath it is completely dry so you don't smudge anything on accident. Additionally, when moving on to stencil your next area, you want to make sure to line up the registration marks. The pattern is repeating, so you can line up the top of the pattern in order to stencil the bottom, and you might have to fiddle around a little to make sure the stencil lines up with the previous pattern well. And you can see from this shot just how light your first layer should be, and again, you can just go back in with multiple layers, or you can do the distress look by going in with a brush by hand to make certain areas darker and lighter. And I just think it came out really cool, distressed. It kind of has like an old aged look, which I love. As you can see between the before and after, I think this really brightens up the bathroom a lot. I also think this would look adorable in a kitchen. Just shouting that out for ideas. Head to our website to check out more of our stencils, and don't forget to tag us on social media with your stencil art.